I'm going to call the May 19th meeting of the West Des Moines City Council to order and invite you all to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, hi everybody. Please sign in.
Five members present.
Thank you, Julius. Julius, have there been any changes to the agenda?
No changes, Your Honor.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as distributed?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, moving on to item 2, Citizens Forum. Anybody in the audience that would like to address the council on any item that is not either part of public hearings or new business, items 6 or 7, this is your time to come to the podium here and give us your name and address for the record. We ask that you keep it to 5 minutes or under, and that you keep it civil and respectful and germane to a city council issue. Okay.
Hello, Council. My name is Jason Kegley, 624 19th Street. Coming
Jason.
to you as president of the Historic Valley Junction Foundation. Just wanted to give thanks to you guys for your continued investment and support of Valley Junction. We've had a fantastic start to our event season, pretty much. We've already had 3 farmers markets, Cinco de Mayo, and probably our most successful arts festival yet, just this Sunday. So thank you to any of you guys that would have came down. And that's just, I want to say thank you. And there's a couple items on the agenda tonight. Historic Valley Junction is in approval of, so just keep that in mind when you're voting. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jason, appreciate it. Okay, anybody else in the chamber for Citizens Forum? Okay, seeing no movement, I'll go online. If you're online and you'd like to address the council on Citizens Forum, please hit *6 to unmute yourself and give us your name and address for the record. Is there anybody online for Citizens Forum? Okay, going once, going twice. All right, Citizens Forum is closed. We're going to now move on to item 3, Mayor Council Manager Report, Other Entities Update. And we are going to start with item 3A, a presentation from Dallas County Sheriff Adam Infante regarding the Fallen Peace Officer Memorial Project.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate you putting me on the agenda. I promise I will not take too much of your time, as I know it's valuable. Been to a lot of these meetings for my board of supervisors. This is pretty well attended. I'm impressed. I didn't know there's going to be this many people. First off, I want to tell you that your police department, in my opinion, is second to none. It's one of the model police departments in the state of Iowa. And having 25 years of experience working with your police department and across the country with other police departments, you should be very proud of the leadership you have here. I see Chief Scott as a mentor of mine. He helps me tremendously on a lot of different things. So just start off with that. The real reason I'm here is to talk to you about a project that we've been working on for a few years in Dallas County. It started back when we bonded for our new sheriff's office about 10 years ago. If you'll recall, at the time, we had several peace officers die in the line of service. We had Sergeant Bemidio from Des Moines and Officer Miller from Urbandale were shot and killed in the same night. The person who killed them was captured in Dallas County by deputies. We had peace officers from Des Moines killed in a car accident just outside of West Des Moines city limits into Waukee on the interstate. And then we had Sergeant Sean Miller, who died in a car accident on his way back from Coronadale. All of this coincided with the sheriff's office being built. Behind our sheriff's office is an outstanding bike trail, the Raccoon River Valley Trail, one of the largest continuous loops in the country for bike trails. So we wanted to build a peace officer memorial on this bike trail to honor those who've died in the line of service throughout the state of Iowa. The timing of all of this is really what spurred this project to begin. So we have an area that the county owns behind our office on the bike trail. We've received in-kind donations from construction managers and some earthwork already to be done. And now we're trying to raise funds to build this. I'm passing around renderings of what the Thin Blue Line project will look like. It'll be very similar to a wall like the Vietnam Memorial Wall or the Peace Officer Memorial Wall in DC, if you're familiar with that area. And we see this as an anchor point, the south anchor point of this bike trail system, whereas the High Trestle Trail would be the north anchor point. And I don't know if you guys realize how many people travel this bike trail on an annual basis, but in the summer months, tens of thousands of people will access parts of this bike trail system, which in turn accesses your bike trail system, Clive's bike trail system, Urbandale's. They're all connected, Ankeny even. So what we're doing now is raising money. I'm flat out asking you for money. Not going to hide behind anything other than that.
It's a great cause to be raising money for.
It is.
So,
You are the second city I've spoken with. I spoke with Waukee just last Monday, and those are the first two presentations we've given. I have appointments, and the rest of my board has appointments with every large-scale company you could possibly think of that would be involved in a project like this, and we're receiving very positive feedback. So I'm here to humbly ask you guys to consider a pledge over the next 3 years, somewhere in the neighborhood of $25,000 to $50,000 towards this project. The total cost on this project right now with that tree of life in the middle, which will be commissioned and built by a gentleman here in West Des Moines, just south of the Valley Junction area. He's a metal artist, is about $1.5 million total project cost. So we're hoping you guys would find it in your agenda at some other time in the future to maybe have a discussion about this. And I'm open to any questions if you have any.
now, so is this, you said this is on land that you own, this is county land, it's not in the city of Waukee, or it's county land?
Technically in the city of Adel.
Adel.
As
but
our
it's
sheriff's office.
Unincorporated, no, Dallas, no?
The sheriff's
Adel.
office is in city limits of Adel now.
Okay,
And we
gotcha.
touch Waukee now as well,
Okay.
if you can believe it.
Any other questions or comments for the sheriff?
How much has been raised thus far? Are you just starting?
We started loosely a few years ago. We've raised
Oh.
approximately $60,000.
Okay.
And that's from Rotary clubs and, small things.
Yeah.
We've not done any big, large-scale fundraising yet.
Yeah, just starting.
Yep.
So I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to. Dallas County, how much has Dallas County agreed to put in? And I ask that just because we had asked Dallas County to help us with our recplex, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I
And
was there.
they agreed to do $50,000, and we went for $1 million grant with the state. And then we were not successful getting the million, we got $500,000. And so they revoted and cut that $50,000 grant to us down to $25,000. So their contribution to this incredible recplex, unfortunately, was about $25,000. Have they contributed to this?
I have not met with them in public forum yet, and I've not asked
I
them
want to know
formally.
what they're going to contribute. I think it's very important that they contribute to this and they lead the way. And I think that it's important that they contribute in a significant way. This is a great project, and this is just something that's going to stand the test of time, going to be there to honor peace officers, and I'd really like to see what they're going to end up doing, and I hope they go in big.
I hope so too. I'd like to point out, Mr. Mayor, if I could,
Yeah,
they did donate the land, which is a significant cost. And they're also upgrading the trail system from R16 all the way to Adel,
okay,
which is over $1 million upgrade because it
Okay.
needs to be resurfaced. And if you watched the news recently, we just had our bridge going into Adel, which is this section of the trail, burned last week in an arson. And that'll be another $900,000 to replace that. And I know that the county will be contributing if insurance does not cover it.
okay.
So I don't want to speak
good to
for
hear.
what they've done, but I know they are working. And I will be addressing them in the same way I'm addressing you.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions for the sheriff? Okay, Councilman Hudson.
Well, Sheriff, this seems like an excellent project, and so certainly we're going to talk about this and figure out what we can do. And so thank you for your leadership on this. But I did want to say, since you are here and we don't get to see you here at the West Des Moines City Council chambers very often, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your service. Out of the 6 of us, I'm the only one who lives in Dallas County. And so interacting with, well, not the Dallas County Police that much, but not too much. I will say, if you all didn't know, the work that Dallas County Sheriff's Office does in the unincorporated parts of West Des Moines, and even in the city of West Des Moines, of course, they play such an important role in keeping our residents safe, because technically like half of Mill Civic west of 88th Street is unincorporated Dallas County, and so they do work out there. You know, we go back into the furthest western reaches of the city of West Des Moines. You all are there, and I want to say thank you. And please pass to your entire team that we in the city of West Des Moines are incredibly grateful for your service, and thank you for joining us tonight, Sheriff.
Thank you very much.
Well said, Councilman. Okay, anybody else?
One quick comment, Sheriff. Thank you for coming. This is something that's close to my heart and a great project. When I was a child, my next door neighbor was Jamie Bunting.
Sorry.
Sorry, that's all I'm gonna say. But thank you for putting this up, and I'm excited to see it go.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments or questions for the sheriff before we move on to the next item? All right, well, thank you for being here and
you.
presenting on this
Appreciate
important
your time.
project. We're going to see what we can do. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
He needs those handouts, the laminated things back. Oh, okay. We understand.
We
Tight West Des
appreciate your
Moines,
fiscal
too. Yeah,
responsibility.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. Moving on to Mayor, Council, Manager report. We will start down to the right with City Manager Tom Hadden. Any report?
Just briefly, the census, we were going to be starting some months ago, and good news, we will be able to start and get it going by August 1st, which is great timing to get it finished this calendar year, so we can, it helps with our funding from the road use tax fund. So in light of future budgeting issues, this is very important. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great news.
Thanks for your help on this, Mr.
Oh,
Mayor.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad to see this done. I was a little bit worried for a while. So, all right, Councilman Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just 2 items. Number one, we had a special city council meeting, and it was not a finance administration subcommittee meeting. However, this meeting that we had last week, Suzanne from PFM came by and shared with us some outstanding news. Because every time that we go out to market to sell bonds, there has to be a city that sets the standard, a municipal city that sets the standard in the United States of America for bond rates. And last week, Suzanne, I'm proud to say, said that the city of West Des Moines was setting the national standard for bond rates. And the fact that we can get a 3.51% interest rate on bonds is incredible. And it's always a privilege to know that we in the city of West Des Moines are making excellent financial decisions, whether it be Tim and Chris in the finance department, or of course the folks who came before us who sat in this very place, who made good decisions to allow us to be where we are right now. So that was awesome news. And the second thing is much more on a happy note. Well, I get the other one happy too, but this is a time of graduation, and so I wanted to issue an official congratulations to the students of Valley High School, students at Dowling Catholic High School, and because of half of Waukee High School are West Des Moines residents, I will absolutely wish a happy graduation to Waukee High School residents, residents of West Des Moines, and of course all of the Waukee graduates. And I will say what I say every year to graduates from any high school in West Des Moines and Central Iowa, whatever you do, do your thing. Go to Miami, go to New York, but come back and live in West Des Moines because it's the greatest place to live. So congratulations, including to a couple of children of people on the dais themselves. So congratulations to them as well. That'll conclude my remarks, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Councilman McKinney.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing at this time.
All right, Councilwoman Hardman.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to share a couple of things as Chair of Public Safety. I was very, very proud to participate. While we had a special council meeting, we couldn't do all of it, but we certainly came back afterwards and mingled around for the community gathering, for the celebration of public safety and our peace officers and what they do for the city. I think we started the meeting off with the sheriff indicating how well our West Des Moines police officers serve this city. And so we want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Chief Scott and his leadership team for helping put it together. And it was a wonderful day. It was a little windy, but it was just honored to be there and to, lift up the folks that make this city what it is today. And thank you, Mayor, for the proclamation that you read. It was meaningful and quite appropriate. Attended a session on Friday for the West Des Moines Chamber, hosted the West Des Moines Human Rights Commission, and we had our chair, Jill Crosser, and Audrey Kinnis do a presentation on Know Your Rights. It was light in attendance, but people that were there were very engaged, asked lots of questions. But it's a really neat example of how the West Des Moines Human Rights Commission is really trying to get out there and educate and inform and lift up important topics. So really want to thank Audrey Kinnis and Jill from the Human Rights Commission for their work. And then lastly, I did have written down as well, I just want to take a moment of personal privilege to congratulate Councilman Lotz and Councilman Trevilian and City Manager Haddon for the graduation of their sons and daughter from high school. That is a monumental accomplishment, and we're more than just sitting on this dais. You have families and children that you lift up, and so proud of each of your family members. And I know you all are happy, and we're happy for your families.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Trevilian.
Nothing this time, Your Honor.
All right, Councilman Lotz.
I'll be brief. I'll just talk about the bond sending thing that Councilman Hudson said. It's a really proud moment, and I think it gives a lot of credibility to the city and the folks on staff and on this council with how we manage our taxpayer money and finances, and it makes me very proud, not only to have our Moody's AAA rating renewed, which is better than the federal government at this point, at AAA status, but to set the market rate for the bond market that day across the entire country is pretty amazing. So I'm proud that we can get that cheap money to keep this city going, and it is a testament to all the work that goes into it behind the scenes that nobody ever really thinks about. So thanks to this council, thanks to staff, thanks to everyone.
Yeah, I'd piggyback on that. I mean, we had somebody come up when we had our public hearing on our budget and talk about the fact that our bond rating and our property tax rate is really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. And I could not disagree more with that individual. They are a huge, huge deal. It shows how fiscally responsible we are, how fiscally strong we are. And I'm extremely proud of that bond rating. We are one of 100 cities in the entire country that have a AAA bond rating by both Moody's and S&P. So that's a pretty big deal. We're able to borrow money for the best rates possible. We lead in the bond market. I mean, it is a huge deal. It's a huge deal for our taxpayers. So also just really, really briefly, I mean, National Police Week, we had the 12th through the 15th, as Councilwoman Hardman talked about. It was a huge honor to be there. It always is. When I was there, I talked about the police and really public safety is the foundation on which this city is built on. I mean, we don't often sit there and brag about all the great things that our public safety folks do. They're kind of the unsung heroes. We're out there talking about economic development, cutting property taxes, quality of life amenities, all the great businesses we have here. We couldn't have any of that. We could not have any of that if we didn't have safety here, if our people didn't feel safe. We wouldn't have residents living here if they didn't feel safe in this community. So that is a huge, huge deal. It is a prerequisite to people moving and living in this city, that and strong schools. Those are probably two of the most important prerequisites to have in any successful city. So the men and women that serve in uniform, whether it's EMS or fire or Westcom or our police, you are literally the foundation upon which this city is built. It is a huge, huge deal, and I hope you know that every single day when you're out there serving the public. We do not thank you enough for what you do. But we would not be the city we are without you. So with that, I'm going to move to item 4, consent agenda. Are there any items that any council person would like to have pulled and voted on separately? I think, Matt, you were talking about 4H. Is that something that you
Yeah.
want to pull?
Yeah, about 4C, 5, 6, and 7.
4C, 5, 6, and 7. I've got that marked. And-
4E2, Your Honor, and 4L.
Wow, this is a lot. Okay, hold on.
I didn't get 4C.
Okay, so we're going to start 4C, 4, 5, or 5, 6, sorry, 5, 6, and 7.
Correct.
And then Councilman Lotz, you said
4E2
Okay.
and 4L.
4E2 and 4L.
And then someone said H.
And Councilman McKinney, you wanted to pull H?
4H, 4K1, which is Bravo.
Okay, 4. I feel like someone's going to yell bingo soon. 4K1, which is Bravo. Okay.
And 4K2.
4K2 as well. Man, I'm gonna fill the whole card up.
And
There you go, 4R1 and S1 and 2.
4R1,
Goodness gracious.
and Councilman, did you need 4R2?
yes.
Do we have a consent agenda, or are they all individual items? Okay, and then 4S1 and 2.
Yes.
All right, let's just go over it again, make sure. So I've got 4C, 5, 6, and 7. I've got 4E2. I've got 4H, 4K1 and 2, 4L, 4R1 and 2, and 4S1 and 2. Did I miss any?
It's 4R1.
4R1. Okay, and Councilman McKinney would like 4R2 pulled. So I think
Okay,
we've.
sorry.
All right, so we got it all. Can I get a motion?
I will
to
move
approve
for the remainder.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Please vote.
What's left?
All right.
So
5 yes.
Okay, so items 4C, 5, 6, and 7 all have to
Come
do
and go.
with liquor licenses for come and go. And so I would ask that somebody move approval of those items en bloc.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I'm just going to be abstaining, Mayor. I do
Okay.
work for Come and Goes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, we will show Councilman McKinney abstaining on that. If there's no other discussion, please vote.
Four yes and 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, moving on to item 4E2. It's approval of special event lane closures, Ironman Triathlon, June 8th, 2025. Councilman Lotz.
Yes, I would just like to ask Ryan Penning to come up, and I have one question for him.
Okay?
Good. Hey, Ryan. Just one question. I know last year when the triathlon went through, we had some confusion around residents along Southeast Meadow Rose and Southwest Indigo being able to get in and out of their properties and their neighborhoods. I just want to make sure that we feel strongly that that's been addressed this year before this, and what other mitigating factors that we're doing to make sure that they can get in and out during that event.
Yep, Ryan Penning, Parks and Recreation Director. This is a collaboration between not only Des Moines, but City of Des Moines, but Catch Des Moines. Obviously, we've been working with Catch Des Moines very closely. Ryan Anderson from the police department has been attending the meetings along with Laura Murphy from our department. Last year, because it was such a new development, it was just that mailing got missed. Those mailings, the notification went out of this event last week, so those should be hitting their mailboxes this week. Catch Des Moines confirmed today that they will have a flagger there on that road, and so they will have access in and out. Once those bikers get done with
piece of
the swim part of it,
Yeah.
they're spread out enough that they can get people in and out of those properties. So that should be taken care of this year.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm satisfied.
Good.
Okay, Councilman, do you want to move that item then?
I will. I'd like to move approval of 4E2.
Okay, is there so moved and seconded? Is there any further discussion? I just do want to say, Councilman, I appreciate you pulling this and having that dialogue back and forth. And I know there were some emails sent because this triathlon is a huge deal. It's huge economic development. But for residents that aren't participating in the triathlon, you might get a little bit mad when you can't get in or out of your neighborhood. So glad that we're looking at this, taking this seriously, and Ryan, thank you for working with everybody to make sure this gets done. Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 4H. It's a motion for approval of park use agreement, Heartland Cricket League. Councilman McKinney.
Thank you, Russ. Mayor. So I took a look at this and had an opportunity to talk to Ryan in advance of council meeting. I talked to Greta on it. There's some language in the agreement that is inconsistent with what we've done with other similarly situated entities. I think Ryan had referenced rugby and softball. And so really what I'm hoping to try to do is delay this. Listen, I want to be able to make sure we can work with the Heartland Cricket League. I understand there's another cricket league out there as well that is going to be bringing forward a similar agreement. But I want to make sure that when we have agreements like this, that they are consistent with how we have treated everyone else across the city. And so I just asked for, this to be delayed until the next council meeting so that the language in this agreement can be consistent with how we treat other nonprofits in the city.
Okay.
Nothing against cricket, nothing against softball or rugby, just being consistent across the board.
Okay, do you want to move to defer to the next council meeting?
Please.
Okay,
Yes, I'd
Is there
move.
a second?
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on this item?
What is the inconsistent language? And just, if you could
Yeah.
look that up for us.
Yep. So this is a 5-year agreement that would have the exclusive use for Heartland Cricket League every Saturday from mid-May through till October 1st, from 8:30 in the morning until 6:00 p.m. And then additionally, priority for practices on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. In other instances, like with softball and rugby, we have said they can have the ability to use it, kind of like a right of first refusal, and they have to publish their schedule, and they would have the first right, but they wouldn't have the exclusive use every Saturday throughout basically the spring, summer, and into fall for a 5-year period to the detriment of others. And so I don't think that's the intent here. I don't believe that's the intent. I believe it's, hey, if you got a game scheduled, somebody else shouldn't be able to use it. But if you don't have a game scheduled, this says they have the exclusive use. And I just want to make sure that we're treating everyone consistent. And for, if they don't have, for example, an event that goes from 8:30 to 6, that, a family near Valley View Park could go out there and throw the Frisbee, walk their dog, have a picnic, whatever it is that they want to do. And we don't have an agreement that says, well, I'm sorry, you can't be out there. The likelihood of that happening, I don't know what it is. In talking with Ryan, we do not have any other exclusive use agreements like this, and I'm not interested in going down the path of entering into exclusive use agreements for city property in this fashion.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I guess, do we need to bring this back to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board? And if so, if we just deferred this to
There's
June
a
2nd?
reason. There's,
Okay.
it would have been easier if we would have had the other agreement that coincided with this. Heartland Cricket League started this partnership back in 2005. The wording of it changed in 2019 when Iowa Premier League, which is another cricket organization, came into West Des Moines, approached us and said, hey, we want to offer a similar cricket league, but different. One's recreational based, the other is more competitive. So that is why the verbiage in this agreement is different compared to all the other ones, is because we have two organizations that are using the same facility. So Cricket League said, we want our games on Saturdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays. Iowa Premier League is on those other dates. Sundays are their games. Monday, Wednesdays are their practice times. So the exclusive use is really to separate these two cricket organizations so they're not competing against the same times. So
Space.
for the space. So the exclusive use is really pertaining to those two organizations so they're not fighting over practice times. But we can look at it, we can go back and use the similar verbiage that we did for rugby last month, girls softball, soccer. It's very similar, it just excludes the use of exclusive out of it, so.
So Ryan,
Go ahead, Kevin.
if
Sorry.
I'm understanding you correctly, that means that 7 days a week, our city park land is not accessible to the residents of West Des Moines. because of these
We
two
have-
cricket leagues,
outside of their schedules.
which you said was Saturday games and Sunday games for the other one,
From
and
April
Monday,
to-
Wednesday, or Tuesday,
April
Wednesday, and
through
Thursday,
September.
and Monday and Friday, I guess, for the other one. That's, to me, 7
April
days.
through September.
Yeah, right, which is when people are wanting to use the park. I don't think people are going to go to the park in the middle of
Yeah,
December.
and it just
so-
depends on what are they looking to use it for. Cricket needs a large green space with a cricket pitch in the middle of it. We have 2 of those here in West Des Moines. If you're looking to fly a kite, you have Wilson Park that has ample green space right down in that same location. So, as I try to explain to Mr. McKinney, you have to look at these park use agreements as an extension of our department. This is a service that our department's not providing, another organization is. They are providing cricket opportunity. So if we were to do it and we scheduled games on Saturdays, the public would not have that access if we had all of our games on Saturdays or Sundays or vice versa. So it's different with girls softball and things like that as well. So we can look at excluding, getting rid of the word exclusive and make it more comparable to the other ones, but that is why the use of that word was in it.
Well, and we've got something similar, may not be the exact wording, but with girls softball, with
The other
boys
wording-
soccer, with,
Rugby, which was just approved last month.
Okay.
That wording is the premises so designated in the playing schedule shall be reserved for scheduled games, tournaments, and practices according to the association's annual schedule. So if they schedule it,
Yeah.
they have exclusive use of it. So
okay.
it doesn't have the word exclusive in it, but it's
I
pretty
agree.
similar terminology.
Councilwoman.
So I appreciate this discussion. I've learned a little bit more about the cricket league and how it works and all of that. And so you're saying that this agreement allows for 2 organizations to have access to field at times in which there is games and practices, and it's an extension of Park and Recs, because we're not running it. Other organizations outside of Park and Rec are doing it and need to have some scheduling in order to, advanced scheduling in order to do what they do. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay.
I think the thing I'll add to this, and the reason I like these types of agreements is whether it's softball or cricket or rugby, this is something that taxpayers don't have to pay for, yet it's available to our people in town. And so it's a really good deal
Advance.
for me, yeah. And you know, I assume that cricket's going to be asked to come in and report their schedule to Parks and Rec for every year, just like rugby does, just like softball does. And so I think if we correct the verbiage, I think that I'd be happy with that too.
Yeah, I'd just say, if the intent is, as Ryan described it, let's memorialize it in that fashion and not exclude everybody every Saturday from April to October, from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. for a 5-year period. I think we ought to say it should be consistent with their schedule, like we did with softball, like we did with rugby last month. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so we've got a motion to defer. Is that, Ryan, do you think that's enough time to defer to the next council meeting, which is June 2nd?
Yep.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second, I believe, on that. Is there any further discussion? Councilwoman, did you want to?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure I understand, too, even though we're going to take a look at taking exclusive out, if they come in and they present their schedule for the season, you guys can say yes to that, right? So how does that solve the problem?
Because once you've provided a schedule similar, as I understand how the softball works, or rugby, you provide a schedule. Let's say they got a game, maybe they have a game every Saturday. I don't know. But if they don't have a game every Saturday, we shouldn't have the exclusive use to continue to go to this organization that's not utilizing the field. So I think, you know, if we enter
Yeah,
into an
okay.
agreement like we did with everybody else, we'd just be, I'm just trying to be consistent,
it,
Renee.
so.
Yeah.
No, I'm not fighting you.
no.
I'm just getting clarity.
Yeah,
So I'm
no,
just asking
just-
questions for clarity, not
I
fighting
appreciate
you.
it. No, I get it. All I'm saying is just, let's be consistent with how we treat each of these
I'll give another
entities.
example for rugby. So, for example, is if there's no matches on a Saturday there, people can run their dogs out there. They can do whatever they want. I will say it's no fun to land in the dog poo after you're done with that, but it happens. But it's a really good agreement because it's something that we're not tasking the taxpayers to pay
Right,
for, and it's
totally.
available to anybody. So I like these arrangements.
And Councilman, for something like that, the schedule is posted for anyone to be able to see, correct?
That is correct, and it's posted on, I would assume, the Cricket website. It would be as well, so.
Yep. So that would be the same thing. So Ryan, the specific, the word exclusive was really to differentiate between the two groups. And I think if we clean up that language, I think it shouldn't be a problem at all. Thank you,
right.
Councilman McKinney.
Let's vote. Please vote.
What are we voting on? Moving it?
Voting on deferring this to June 2nd.
Okay.
Yep.
Who's not voting?
I hit it too quick.
5 yes.
Okay, moving on to item 4K1, which is approval of 28E agreement for Bravo Greater Des Moines. Councilman McKinney.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I pulled this for two reasons. One, this has been an ongoing effort with Bravo. I thank you to your appointment, have been serving on the Bravo board for the last 4.5 years. Currently chair Bravo, and in the current environment, there's a lot of regional organizations that are looking at funding. Obviously, the next one, I think, is CVB that we have up tonight. You know very closely what's going on with DART. And so the work we've been doing at Bravo, and I give my full support and appreciation to what Sally Dix has been doing as our executive director, reaching out to communities across the metro to make sure that there is alignment, make sure that there is consistency, and perhaps most importantly, uniformity amongst the 2080 partners that are members of Bravo. And so we are changing this, or the proposal is to change this from the existing 2/7 of hotel motel tax dollars to 25%. And the goal is to have consistency across the metro. I also want to thank Tom Haddon, because I know, Tom, you and the other city managers across the metro have been working to get everybody on board with something, like I say, that's uniform. So while it is disappointing to see that we will be reducing these funds, it's not inconsistent with what's having to happen across the metro as it relates to many of these 2080 organizations. I'm glad that we're going to continue to be, as a city, part of Bravo. I'm glad that Bravo is going to continue to exist, that we're going to continue to have our 2080 partners there, and we're going to work to ensure that we not only retain those that we have, but perhaps attract additional ones going forward. But this is the best setup that can exist under the current framework. So appreciate all the work, again, Tom, that you put into this, and to Sally Dix and to others that brought these things forward. So that's what I'll say on this. Because I serve on the board and chair the organization, I'm going to abstain from this as well. But I wanted that lead in, Mayor, so thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to say to you and on the next one to Greg, thank you for representing the city and serving on the Bravo board, on the Catch Des Moines board. You guys have done an excellent job representing us, and we are just in a situation with changes that have been made at the state level, and maybe a budget shortfall in one of our cities that is much, much more significant than anything that the rest of us are facing, that we're now having to take a look at this and trying to figure out how we can put these resources to use in the best possible manner. And this is, unfortunately, what we're having to do across the metro, metro-wide. It doesn't mean that arts and culture aren't important. It doesn't mean that those don't result in significant economic impact to the area, because they do. I think we all realize that, but we're living in a whole new world, and we've got to make some changes and do the best we can with the resources that we've been given. And this is one of those results. So do you want to move this item? No, someone's got to move it, sorry.
Motion approved.
Second.
Moved and second. Is there any further discussion on this?
Yeah, I'd like to add as well the importance of Bravo. I think that a lot of us go to their event. It's their #1 fundraiser, but yet we recognize that this is a regional quality of life initiative, and that we all enjoy what Bravo's impact is on the community. So it's no reflection of that whatsoever. Just a few months ago, we sat and looked at a lot of other nonprofits that Councilman Trevilian and Councilman Hudson both evaluated our contributions toward them, and there were some decreases, including the West Des Moines Chamber, who is also significant to the livelihood of the city. So While it's always difficult, I respect that we are doing it, not with a hammer, but, with a slight, hit on the, right, a little bit to go from 28 to 25. And so, again, no reflection on the organization, but a reflection on our need to pivot and reshuffle a few things in order to be fiscally responsible.
Any other discussion on this item before we vote? Okay, please vote.
Four yes and one abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, item 4K2, approval of 2080 agreement for the Greater Des Moines Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I can't remember who pulled this. Was it
Right.
Councilman? Okay,
Because he's on the
Councilman Hudson,
board.
makes sense.
All right. We will continue the adventure that is the pulled items from the consent agenda with this particular one. So I also have two items, two reasons why I wanted to pull that, and I will do it in a similar way that Councilman McKinney did. Number one, I'm certainly proud to serve as the vice chair of Catch Des Moines, an organization that is just doing amazing things around the community, just like Bravo is doing amazing things around the community. And I will say that this regional effort to kind of lower it from 2/7 down to 1/4, from 28.6% to 25%. I will be honest, and I think it's disappointing in a lot of ways, because the work that Bravo does, the work that Catch Des Moines does is really exceptional. And if you don't know the work that they're doing, just ask either one of us, because Councilman McKinney's been the chair. I've been the vice chair for the last 2 years, and as of July 1, I should be chair as well, as long as they don't toss me out, which can happen, of course. Hopefully it doesn't. But the work that Catch Des Moines does, I just have to be absolutely clear. The economic investment that we put in just comes back to us tenfold. It just the way it is, whether it be Catch Des Moines working with Shane over at the Recplex, whether working with Ryan's Parks and Rec Department, working all throughout the metropolitan area to bring events. We were just talking about the Ironman event. Catch Des Moines brings that in, and it brings athletes from all over the world to our city, and it's amazing. We were just talking about rugby events and cricket events. Yes. And National Speech and Debate, which is coming next month. It's bringing 10,000 high school students. Those 10,000 high school students are staying in hotels. The Iowa Senior Games, the National Senior Games, that are bringing in thousands upon thousands of athletes. No entity by itself can do this unless we are working together as a region in something like Catch Des Moines to bring everybody together, to put forth proposals to make these events happen, to bring in March Madness to the city of Des Moines and our entire metropolitan area. We all benefit from this. And so I am certainly disappointed that we are dropping it, because the money that we put in comes back tenfold in economic output. But maybe the biggest disappointment is I see what other cities are doing. When we talk about competitor cities around the United States, around the Midwest, these are our Madison, Wisconsins. These are our Omaha, Nebraskas. These are our Wichita, Kansases. These are cities that are actually leaning further in while we are cutting. And I understand why we're cutting. And Mayor Trumbull, we've spoken about this. Councilwoman Hardman, you've spoken about this too. There are tough choices. And these tough choices do have to be made. But it is incredibly hard, because what we're seeing is these other regional competitors, and we'll call them that, they are really leaning into these efforts of bringing more events. Councilman Lutz, what did you say earlier about how these events are other taxpayers? They're not our taxpayers. You said it really nicely earlier. Can you?
You think I could repeat that? No chance.
I have every confidence, but
It's just one of these things that it brings tons of economic opportunities, and these people eat restaurants. We just had 120 cars at the rugby club here for an Australian rules football national tournament. So that was Saturday. Not even a rugby event, but all these guys help bring all that in. And it doesn't cost our taxpayers anything.
That's it. It doesn't cost our taxpayers anything. Now, to our Ironman discussion, yeah, it did bring that inconvenience for a couple of hours, and that is no fun. As long as we communicate effectively, hopefully that can be mitigated as much as possible because it's just such a short time. But the overall economic impact on an event like that is just enormous, and those things happen because of Catch Des Moines. And so the work that Greg Edwards and his entire team have done over the last years, nay, decades, because this 2080 agreement has been around since, I think, 1985, the work that they've done is exceptional. So I will state that I am disappointed, no doubt about it. I understand why this needs to happen, but because I do sit on the executive board of Catch Des Moines, I will also be abstaining from this.
Okay, does somebody want to move approval?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
I'm sorry, Councilman, was you abstaining or?
He's abstaining.
Did you put yes? Did he push the yes button by accident?
You pushed yes.
That was I pushed the wrong button. Excuse me, I meant to click abstain. Abstain.
4 yes and 1 abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, moving on to item 4L. It's a resolution ordering construction Sugar Creek Greenway Trail Phase 2. Who pulled that one?
That'd be me, Your Honor.
Okay, Councilman Lotz.
Hey, I'd like to talk to Ryan. Ryan, thanks for coming up. Just one quick question. We just, along this development, we had the WRA putting in sanitary sewer along the west side. That's a pretty invasive project. And now we're going to be putting the bike trail in over it. I just wanted to ask, what is staff doing to work with the homeowners along that to try not to disturb it? We had dump trucks going all over in there and stuff, and hopefully this will be less difficult, but I just would like to know what we're doing.
Yep. Ryan Penning, Director of Parks and Recreation, two separate projects. The WRA project should be wrapping up at the end of June on the west side, and that is where the trail extension will go. We'll have the bid letting on June 4th and then bring hopefully that agreement to the June 16th council meeting. We'll work with that contractor once on board, but the trail project is much more less invasive than what the WRA is doing. So I don't anticipate that being an issue at all.
Thank you, Ryan.
Ryan, is this the area that we had a meeting in the neighborhood? Yeah, so we went out, had a neighborhood association meeting. It was pretty well attended.
Yeah, I go every year.
Great conversation with them, so.
And we've sent project updates and communications out to them. And the one neighbor that had the issue with close proximity to his backyard, we've addressed that. We've narrowed the trail.
So we've done quite a lot. I know you're right, Councilman, it is pretty invasive and a lot going on in the area, but we've had some pretty good communication so far, so I know we'll keep that up. Okay, Councilman, do you want to move approval?
Yep. Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second? So moved and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 4R1, it's a resolution for approval and acceptance of property interests, Ashworth Road, reconstruction 19th Street to 23rd Street. Councilman Trevilian, I believe.
Yes, this is probably a question for Brian Hemisath, our city engineer. This is for 5 different property owners, and I know there's others that are affected. So I'm just curious as to what's the status of those other properties and when will they be coming to us for approval?
Yep, Brian Hemisath, city engineer. We've been working with the legal staff and JCG Land Services. We're going out and meeting with every property owner individually. So Jason Schlickburn, a member of JCG, is going out with meeting with everybody individually and talking through it. It's just we're going through it systematically. So this is the first batch. You'll probably see a few more in the next 2 or 3 council meetings, but so far so good.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'll move approval.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
5 yes.
Okay, item 4R2, approval and acceptance of property interest, Woodland Avenue, Veterans Parkway to Southwest Cary Street. Councilman McKinney.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. This involves some extended family, so may not be, I guess, a technical conflict. I think for the appearance of impropriety, I'm going to abstain.
Okay, does somebody want to move?
Motion to approve.
All right, is there a second? It's moved and seconded. Please vote.
Four yes and one abstention due to potential conflict of interest.
Okay, item 4S1 is approval of a proclamation for Emergency Medical Services Week, May 18th through the 24th, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve the proclamation?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and I will read the proclamation. Then we will vote on the proclamation. We'll go to the other proclamation, then we'll have people come down to take pictures. All right. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of the emergency medical services team are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week, now therefore I, Russ Trimble, Mayor of the City of West Des Moines, Iowa, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week. With that, is there any discussion on the dais? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 4S2, which is approval of proclamation for National Public Works Week, May 18th through the 24th, 2025. Does somebody want to move?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
it's moved and seconded, and I will read. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of and understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as sewers, streets, and highways, public buildings, and solid waste collections. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now therefore I, Russ Trimble, Mayor of the City of West Des Moines, do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in the City of West Des Moines, and I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Passed and approved this 19th day of May, 2025. Is there any further discussion on the dais? Hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 4S2 is approved. Okay, and will the emergency medical services providers come down and take a picture? And then we will do this also with our public services folks who may be here.
I was lined up on this anyway, so just wanted to abstain, but clearly.
Yeah.
I'll stand on the dais.
I'll go behind you.
Oh, you got it. All right, now, our public services.
I'm going now. Didn't come.
Maybe one person who's mighty and strong represents the entire department. Leader in the back. Leader in the back. The man, the legend. Come on, here comes his All right. The public services will do it. All right. Ready?
Consent agenda, almost done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll walk you to the market.
We'll move nicely now. Well, I do have to say, I think we have a record in my 16 years here. Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen so many items pulled from the consent agenda.
No, I don't think we have.
That's a record. Let's mark that down. All right, moving on to item 5, old business. Item 5A, Ashworth 88, southeast corner of Ashworth Road and 88th Street, amend the Ashworth 88th Planned Unit Development Ordinance to adjust parking and building setback requirements, construction timing of internal private streets, KC's Inc., and we have got an ordinance amendment for approval, the second reading, and there are no outstanding issues. If you remember, at the last meeting, we did have a lengthy discussion regarding the hours of operation, with Councilman Hudson moving that we restrict the hours of operation to 10 p.m. due to the proximity of residential dwellings. There was also significant discussion regarding setting a precedent if we restricted the hours of operation to 10 p.m., and at the end of the day, the motion by Councilman Hudson to restrict the hours of operation to 10 p.m. passed on a 3-2 vote, with Councilman Hudson, Lotz, and Trevilian all voting aye. Does somebody want to?
Motion to consider the second reading?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Well, I would, Mayor, would very much prefer to continue to allow this to be, go back and allow this to be consistent with what Planning and Zoning recommended was 11 p.m. And if I were interested in doing that, my understanding is we could do that on the actual approval of the ordinance, not the motion for consideration. Am I accurate in that understanding?
I believe that is the case. I think another way to do it is, have this, if it gets voted down, somebody can make another motion as well.
At this point in time?
If this, we take a vote on this,
Okay.
and if this gets defeated, then I would entertain another motion.
Fair enough.
This is the motion for consideration, not approval, though.
This is the motion for consideration. But if the motion for consideration goes down, then I've got to take another motion for consideration.
Sure.
So, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Two yes, 3 no, motion failed.
Okay, does somebody want to make another motion?
Your Honor, I'd like to make the motion.
Show the voting up. We don't do that anymore.
Nope, moving too fast.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, is there another motion that somebody would like to make?
Yeah, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to consider changing the ordinance or the PUD ordinance here to the 11 o'clock and have it read exactly the same as the Planning and Zoning Commission had done a couple weeks back.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'll make my comment. I had a number of conversations with this before the last council meeting, and I had a dozen, maybe 2 dozen more since, with parties all involved at various levels. I think after studying the maps and thinking about the consistency we need in governance in this city, I've kind of fallen to, I feel like we need to keep this at 5 to 11, and that's kind of where I'm gonna be with my position on this. So I'll be supporting that.
Well, I guess I would chime in, and you heard my comments last time as well. I fully appreciate what Councilman Hudson was trying to do with this by limiting the hours to 10 o'clock, but I was a little bit worried about the precedent that we would be setting, as well as the fact that we're essentially going to have, more people asking us, to limit hours of operation to 10, then it might become 9, and I just am not sure that it's a good practice to engage in. So I do appreciate, Councilman Lotz, your motion to go back to the 11 o'clock hour as recommended by Planning and Zoning. Is there any further discussion?
Sure, to that end. Oh, Councilwoman, by all means, go.
Okay, and, I again voted to honor planning and zoning at 11 o'clock also. I think I get a little nervous when we are kind of not allowing enterprise to really kind of run their business and, and I thought 1 hour wasn't incredibly burdensome, although I know some people in the audience or some people listening might agree, but I just thought that once we start doing that, when, families or folks ask us for 9 o'clock, what are we going to do? It's 9:30, what are we going to do? So I just thought it'd be honor planning and zoning's commitment.
Absolutely.
Councilman Hudson.
Yeah, so to that end, I just wanted to share, again, I won't rehash it, but I just want to share that the reasoning behind this specific location, I feel that it is very, very unique. And people are saying, well, what if there's a Mill Civic thing? Mill Civic is so different than this particular location. And I think I want to avoid us from creating false dichotomies, because I think that's ultimately not helpful. But with that in mind, I want to say that if we had chosen to go with the 10 o'clock, Mr. Mayor, I do appreciate what you're saying. I do not believe it would be precedent setting, only because this specific spot is unique. Because it's not on Jordan Creek, it's not on Mill Civic, it's not on our main thoroughfares. Now, you could say Ashworth is a main thoroughfare. You absolutely could, except between Grand Prairie Parkway and the Cunningham, there are 0 commercial things except for one landscape company. And there is no interchange. So I will just reiterate my point that I don't think this was meant to set any sort of precedent throughout the city of West Des Moines, other than the one that if there are houses like right there, which would not apply, or even more specifically, if there's not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 commercial entities all around. And so for both of those things, that's what makes it unique. One, other than the landscaping company that closes not at 11 p.m., and the fact that there are 0 other commercial entities around and there are houses nearby. I think those are the critical factors. So when I did proposed that for 10 o'clock, I in no way was outlining a future for the city of West Des Moines, in which case the most commercialized areas of our city would be like, well, it's 10 p.m. That means it's 10 p.m. everywhere. No, that's not what I was suggesting whatsoever. So I want to make sure that we're not creating false dichotomies that, again, I will say are not very, very helpful. To that end, I still want to say thank you for the conversation, and I'm grateful for the fact that my council members and the mayor and city staff were listening to my concerns based on the folks who are living in Ward 2 near this area. So I will say thank you.
The only thing that I would say, Councilman, about a false dichotomy, and I hear what you're saying, is that everybody is going to feel that their area is unique, number one, and they're going to argue, since we are unique, we should get the 10 o'clock thing that applies as well. The other thing is, if you take a look at, we've got a pretty darn big city, and a lot of different areas that right now, off the top of our heads, we may not know are very similar to this. I'll give you one that I do have off the top of my head that's very similar, and that is Grand Avenue at the corner of 50th Street. Doris Anderson owns the lot right there. I'll never forget when I campaigned, either back in 2005 or 2009, she said, "Don't you take away my commercial zoning on this corner." And, you know, you remember Mr. Peppers that came in and Judy Gare, they live right across the street from that. And then, of course, my neighborhood of Quail Park is right there and their home's right there on the end of a cul-de-sac. So there's a perfect example of an area that could potentially have a gas station. And let me tell you, make no mistake about it, if a gas station is proposed for that corner, we will have more people that will come in and that will ask for limited hours of operation. I fully expect it, but that's why it's important.
Are you talking about the one on the corner where there's an interchange and people are getting on the interchange
no.
at Grand
No.
and Interstate?
Nope, I'm talking at 50th Street near the fire station where they sell fruit and vegetables with that little.
But there is an interchange there, to his point.
Sure, but it's pretty far down, to be honest with you. I mean, there's houses right there. I mean, there's houses across the street. But nevertheless, my point is, someone's going to always come in and say it's unique, and therefore we want the same thing to apply.
Your Honor, we had, when the Casey's opened at 108 8th Street, 8th and Railroad, the residents down there expressed concern about the time, and that one closes, and I'm looking at this online of their hours of operation. They close at 10 o'clock. So the precedent has already been set. Now, I know that this ain't going to pass 3-2, but the precedent has already been set that if you're in a residential area, it makes sense to limit the hours till 10 o'clock. So we're not looking at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock. It's already been set.
Casey's
So-
may have decided to close at 10 o'clock based on, you know, how many people were frequenting the business at that time. But I don't think the precedent was set by the council way back when that Casey, no, I don't know because neither you nor I were there, but at least I don't think so. But anyway,
Nonetheless.
it's been a good
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
I think it's an important discussion to be had. And I appreciate everybody's opinions on this and everybody's stance on this. So is there any other discussion to be had before we vote? Okay, please vote. $11.
2 yes, 2 no, 1 no vote.
No,
Jeez.
I think mine did go through. I got to press a little harder.
Her machine's saying you haven't gotten any messages. All right, why don't we revote? Let's revote. Okay, please vote.
Revote.
There we go.
3 yes, 2 no. An ordinance amending the city code of the city of West Des Moines, Iowa, 2024, and the Ashworth 88 PUD ordinance 2533 pertaining to plan unit development, district regulations, and guidelines.
Motion to approve the second reading.
Okay, who seconded it? I think Renee.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
Three yes, 2 no.
Okay, item 5B, authorization of additional action for authorizing not to exceed $11 million in general obligation capital loan notes. Again, we've got a resolution authorizing issuance of not to exceed 11 million in general obligation capital loan notes, and there are no outstanding issues. Somebody want to move approval?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6, public hearings. Item 6A, this is a time and a place for a public hearing to consider Ridgeview and at Moffett Lake Road, voluntary annexation initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Julius, would you please read the date the notice is published?
April 29th. Excuse me.
Okay.
April 29th, 2025, in the Record, Herald, and Indianola Tribune.
And have you received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience like to address the council on item 6A, please come to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, hearing no one, I'm going to declare the public hearing closed, and we've got a resolution for approval of the voluntary annexation agreement, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the dais?
Always like to see Ward 3 growing, especially when it's voluntary, Your Honor.
The land baron over there. Absolutely. It's good for the city to grow. Okay, any other discussion, any other comments? Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6B, this is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider agreement for private development initiated by Forest Avenue Properties LLC. Julius, would you please read the date that notice is published?
May 14th, 2025 in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience who would like to address the council on item 6B, please come to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit star 6 and do the same. Is there anybody in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And we have got a resolution for approval of the development agreement with Forest Avenue Properties LLC, and there are no outstanding issues. This was also approved unanimously by the Finance and Administration City Council Subcommittee.
Motion to approve.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion on the dais?
I think it's important to get this really, really going because right now it's just a giant gap. And the fact that we can, not restore, but rebuild more specifically ASAP, I think is important for the Valley Junction neighborhood. So I think this is a great project to support, and I thank those who are working hard to make it happen.
Yep, absolutely. Councilman McKinney.
Yeah, just echo what you're saying, Councilman Hudson, and just add that, as it's outlined in here, that it must comply with the historic West Des Moines design guidelines. And I'm really glad to see that, as I think I said maybe last time, that this is going to be rebuilt in a manner that is consistent with that. And so that's what I'd add.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great property, great business. It's going to be made to look to fit in like it looks historic, maybe not as historic as some of the buildings there, but I know it's going to be a great asset to Valley Junction when it's done. So, okay, any other discussion before we vote? Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6C. This is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider issuance of not to exceed $30.33 million of general obligation urban renewal bonds or capital loan notes initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Julius, would you please read the date the notice was published?
May 6th, 2025 in the Des Moines Register.
And have received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience like to address council at item 6C, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit star 6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody in the chamber or online that would like to address council on item 6C? Going once, going twice. I'm going to declare the public hearing closed. We've got a resolution instituting proceedings to take additional action toward the issuance of not to exceed $30.33 million in general obligation, urban renewal bonds or capital loan notes, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the dais? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6D, this is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider issuance of not to exceed $26 million of general obligation, local option sales tax bonds initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Julius, would you please read the date the notice is published?
May 6th, 2025 in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience who'd like to address council on item 6D, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit star 6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and we've got a resolution instituting proceedings to take additional actions toward the issuance of not to exceed $26 million in general obligation, local option sales tax bonds, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6E, this is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider the 2024-25 FY fiscal year operating capital budget amendment number 3 initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Julius, would you please read the date the notice is published?
May 2nd, 2025, in the Des Moines Register.
And have we received any written comments to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience who would like to address the council on item 6E, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. We've got a resolution adopting budget amendment number 3 to the fiscal year 24-25 operating and capital budgets, and there are no outstanding issues. This was also approved unanimously by the Finance and Administration City Council Subcommittee at their April 23rd meeting.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the dais?
I mean, this was brought before FNA, and it's pretty straightforward on what's going on with our budget amendment number 3. Chris, we're hoping this is the last one of this fiscal year, right? And it should be. So one thing of note is in the capital projects fund, if you notice the net increase, that's because of the $3.1 million of revenue from a legal settlement. And I know we've been through all that, but it's just good to see the money from a legal settlement show up. So, and here it is, and we're adjusting the budget accordingly. So thank you to the Finance Department for taking care of all of this, as you always do.
Yes, and thank you to you and Councilman Lotz on Finance and Administration for vetting all this, going through it in great detail, as I know you do in those meetings. Is there any further discussion on this item before we vote? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6F, this is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider EP True Parkway, Grand Prairie Parkway to Bridgewood Boulevard, initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Julius, would you please read the date the notice was published?
May 2nd, 2025, in the Des Moines Register.
And have received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from the audience who would like to address the council on item 6F, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, hit *6, not #6, but *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either in the chamber or online that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, once again, hearing and seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and we've got 2 resolutions and a motion which we can take at the same time, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Is there any discussion on the dais? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 6G, this is the time and the place for a public hearing to consider 6th Street parking lot and dumpster enclosure initiated by the city of West Des Moines. Julius, would you please read the date the notice was published?
May 2nd, 2025, in the Des Moines Register.
And have received any written comment to this hearing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody in the audience who would like to address the council on item 6G, please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record. Anybody online, *6 to unmute yourself and do the same. Is there anybody either online or in the chamber that would like to address the council on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, I will again declare the public hearing closed, and we've again got 2 resolutions and motions we can take at the same time, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Trullian.
I'm wondering why a dumpster enclosure? Who could answer that question for me?
Ryan.
Bueller?
Is there anybody that's
Anyone?
drawing the short straw?
Ryan.
Bueller? Flip a coin, or you both come up. I don't care. You can tag team. Because we've got one at the next property down there between, along the alley between the church, I think it's still a church, and Coffee Cats. And if I'm not mistaken, there's also one down at, towards Elm Street. So why another dumpster enclosure so close?
Okay. Brian Hemesat, city engineer, are you asking, why do we have another dumpster? Or
Yes,
another-
why are we putting a
Okay.
dumpster enclosure
Yeah.
at a significant cost that's not needed?
I think it was, yeah, that's a great question. We can
What-
fit more
what-
parking stalls
Might
in.
have someone in.
Why don't we have staff go back and have a discussion on this and bring forward as to whether or not this dumpster enclosure is needed? And if it's not, I mean, I guess, I don't know, Kevin, I don't know if you want to defer on it or.
I think we
what
ought
you
to
wanna
defer
do.
on it for 2 weeks and get some answer, at least,
Okay.
maybe not 2, whatever the
Okay.
next council meeting is, because I don't see, there's a significant cost to these dumpster enclosures, and I don't see what the purpose of it is when you got one so close.
I would second that motion.
Well, just hold on one second before you do, because I just, this parking lot is desperately needed. Matter of fact, at the Valley Junction Association meeting we just had, they asked about it. So I guess my question before we defer this, is there any way that we could approve the parking lot and maybe bring back as a separate item the dumpster enclosure to vote on whether or not we're including that in this item so that we don't slow the process down? Because I don't know what the timing is on this and.
Why would 2 weeks really be a problem?
I don't know that the 2 weeks is an issue. It's
Okay.
going to be an issue of the cost of the enclosure versus the cost of the total project. And if we don't do it, it'd be a significant change order. We may have to rebid the project.
Okay,
That would be something I'd have to.
okay.
That's not something
So
we
we gotta
can
do it all in one
discuss with the
shot.
dais here tonight, but that's something that City Attorney Truman and I would have to discuss.
Okay. All right, Lynn, did you want to add anything or just up here in case? Come on up.
Lynn Cleet, Director of Development Services. If you approve the site plan tonight, from a planning standpoint, they would have to go back through a minor modification to actually remove that dumpster enclosure and then show us the new stalls. So it can be done from a planning standpoint, but Brian raises a very valid point on the bidding.
Okay, so we just need to defer the entire item if that's what we're going to do. So we've got a motion to defer until when, I mean, is June
The next
2nd?
council meeting?
Next council meeting would be fine.
Okay.
I would second that.
And why don't we, yeah, we got Jason that wants to, but I'm just wondering where we're at in the program here. I think I closed the public hearing, did I not?
You did.
All right, does somebody have I've got a question of Jason here, if you want to come on up. Why is this dumpster enclosure needed? Any idea?
So we currently have a dumpster in that block, just one in that block on that side, that is currently being utilized by the businesses on Elm and along Fifth Street. And you'll note that at 304, there's apartments in that building. They also utilize that dumpster along with the church. So that puts that dumpster currently about at capacity. So this additional dumpster would be for any new businesses that are opening. There's the empty lot on the corner that we are expecting to be developed eventually, and that it will be needed in the future. So it makes more sense to take advantage of it now.
And see, I think it makes more sense for the individual property owners to get their own dumpsters, because these things are expensive to build. And let's face it, they're an eyesore. I mean, the doors are always kept open. There's trash always strewn around. I think the city needs to get out of the garbage business. And I don't think we need to be building this dumpster enclosure. I don't. If the apartment was built, they should have supplied their own dumpster.
But with zero.
The one on the corner by St. Kilda's, they've got their own dumpster, I believe.
But isn't it more of an issue of zero lot line for these businesses that they're not able to put something on their
The
property?
one next to St. Kilda's, they were able to put a dumpster in.
Well, they may have a different situation, and as far as the enclosures go, we're doing this for the people that live down there and the people that work down there because they have demanded these enclosures so that they look nicer. So they're costly, but we're doing it for a reason.
But again, I still struggle that this thing is needed.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the additional information. I think it's very helpful. Do you guys are you still wanting to defer and bring this back?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this item then?
I don't mind deferring it if it's not going to cause any major issues over these next 2 weeks, to defer it for 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay. Okay, with that,
And we're deferring it to
We're gonna
get additional information.
I guess we're going to do some additional due diligence, have additional conversation with staff and do a little bit more research and then bring it back. And either it's going to come back with the dumpster or it's going to come back without the dumpster. But I think as Lynn just said, if it comes back without the dumpster, then we're going to have to do a minor modification to the site plan to bring it back without, right?
Right, so
Kind of weird to get a minor mod to get rid of something, but it makes sense, I guess.
what we'll do is we'll talk to the Valley Junction Foundation. We'll talk through all the information. Maybe that's something we can do quickly and bring it to the Public Services Committee potentially for a little bit of discussion, and then we can bring it back to the next meeting. We'll try to do everything really quickly so we can get it moving. We don't want to defer it any longer if
Sounds good.
possible. Okay.
All right,
Very good.
thank you so much. All right, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 7, new business. Item 7A, Mill Ridge Plat 7, northwest and northeast corners of Stagecoach Drive and South 91st Street. Approve final plat to create 65 lots for multifamily development and 2 outlots, Mill Ridge Homes LLC and Mill Ridge Owners Association. We've got a resolution for approval and release of the final plat, and there are no outstanding issues.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody either online or in the chamber that would like to address council on item 7A? Okay, hearing and seeing no one, is there any discussion on the dais? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 7B, city parking lot and dumpster enclosure. Does somebody want to move to defer this to the June 2nd?
Motion to defer.
All right, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote. Made easy work of that one.
Five yes.
Okay. Item 7C, plat of survey parcel 2025-21 and 2025-59, generally 4510 Commerce Drive. Approved plat of survey to create 2 parcels to remedy encroachment of a structure across a property line, Developers Realty Group. We've got a resolution for approval and release of the plat of survey, and there are no outstanding issues. But there are 2 conditions of approval, pretty standard conditions of approval in these situations. One condition is that both the applicant and the property owner acknowledging that this is being done solely to solve an encroachment issue, and that any public improvements necessary are the responsibility of the applicant or future landowner. Second condition is that the applicant and property owner acknowledging that no building permit shall be issued for any structures to be built on the land until such time that public improvements are made, and that the applicant goes through the city subdivision process, and until such time that all financial obligations are met and that legal documents are executed.
Motion approved.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address council on item 7C? Okay, is there any discussion on the dais? All right, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 7D, professional consulting service agreement between Newmark and Company Real Estate, Inc., and the City of West Des Moines for the Economic Development Strategic Action Plan. I would also note on this item, you've got a memorandum on the dais regarding the outstanding items from our Economic Development Director, Ryan Moffett. We've got a resolution for approval of the professional consulting services agreement between Newmark and Newmark Company Real Estate, Inc. and the City of West Des Moines. Does somebody want to move?
Motion to approve, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to address us on item 7D? Is there any discussion in the dais?
Yes, Your Honor, one quick
Okay.
comment. This is something that's been coming for a while now. A lot of economic uncertainty in the world. However, we have a lot of opportunity in terms of economic development. And one of the things I really like about economic development is it benefits everyone in our city. Nobody loses. And so I'm excited about this opportunity to work with Newmark, and I hope my fellow council members support it. Thank you, Mr. Hudson, for supporting it at FNA.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman McKinney.
Yeah, Mayor, I guess I wasn't going to say anything, but I'll echo that sentiment. I think, earlier you talked about, the importance of public safety and the folks that were here. And without question, we owe a lot to them. And it's part of, our economic development, the revenues and the tax basis being able to be created is what allows us to invest in those sorts of things. And so I think this is an important step for the city to take. I also know that, appreciate, I think, Mayor, your spark, so to speak, in moving something like this forward, because what it'll also do is it'll help us maybe become a little bit more refined in how we approach our economic development agreements and ensure that, everything is as tight as it can be and as efficient as it can be, while at the same time doing things to move the city forward, being able to have the revenues to support public safety, to support our quality of life amenities, and ideally, continue to lower our levy rate when we can. So I am excited about what's before us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for the discussion. Is there any further discussion on this item before we vote? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Five yes.
Okay, item 8, receive, file, and/or refer. We've got nothing to receive, file, or refer. Item 9, other matters. Are there any other matters any council person would like to bring up at this time for the good of the order?
Yeah, just one item, Mayor. I think, we went for almost an hour before we got to our full agenda. And then when we got into the full agenda, we had several items. I just, I was sitting here initially thinking when I heard Councilman Lodes talk about, the third ward and what was going on over there with respect to the trail, right? And making sure that notice was happening and with respect to the Ironman. And then I heard Councilman Hudson talking about, what was going on with respect to the Casey's, right? And Councilman Trevelyan talking about the dumpster. And I guess what I'm getting at is, we can get up here and we can be so streamlined. And, I think ideally it'd be great just to be done. But, sometimes it's healthy to have these conversations, and it is not in any way a knock on the very good work that staff does to prepare these documents, to put together packets every week or every couple weeks, and to work things up. And just because we have a conversation up here doesn't mean that, something was wrong. I think it's just a matter of making sure that there's comfort. And I just wanted to say I appreciate how everybody approached the different discussions. And again, while it's not as streamlined as we may like, I think it's a healthy discussion, and I appreciate it. So that's all I wanted to say, Mayor.
I would agree with you, and I would just say that, if there's anything that people cannot accuse this council of, and that is not being thoughtful, because this is a thoughtful council. We understand our role in representing 70-some odd thousand people, 70-some thousand interests, and we try to get it right by everybody, right? I mean, there's some people that are more directly impacted than others, but we've got to think about the long-term future of this city and not just specific individuals on a specific issue. We need to think of them too, but we need to think about the greater impact that our decisions have on the city at large. And so very healthy discussions, great discussions. I always appreciate all the deliberations that we have up here and really value everybody's feedback and input in the process. So, okay, any other items that anybody would like to bring up before we adjourn into our workshop? Okay, hearing none.